Oh, hi everyone. This is the NancoVerse podcast, and today we have a really special guest with us. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Monish Ahuja. He is an army veteran turned first generation entrepreneur, and he's the managing director of Punjab Renewable Energy Systems Private Limited. What this company does is fascinating. I found so on YouTube, and I heard his mission, what he's really trying to do in this country, and making it more self-sufficient in terms of energy. So, pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Naman, for inviting me on this podcast and getting in touch with me. Thank you also for your kind remarks for the work that we do. I think the work speaks for itself, and thanks for looking us up on YouTube as well.
Yes, sir. It's great. Like the internet, people can connect and really talk about things, especially if people are doing things like you, sir. Because what from the gist I got from your video was extremely startling. India has about 500 metric tons of bio-agricultural waste, and we're
500
tapping into
million metric tons, Naman.
million. Sorry, my bad.
500 million metric tons, yeah.
How much is that? Like, I mean, if you're to see it visually, that's a lot, right?
Well, if I put you in in 10,000 metric tons, which is not even a drop of the 500 million metric tons, and I put you in a 10-acre plot with all this biomass aggregated, you can go inside, but it's like a maze. You will not know how to come out of it. So if you look at 500 million metric tons, and the dream is if we are able to harness at least 30, 40, 50% of it, we would be pretty much self-reliant on the energy that India needs. Instead of importing energy, I think we would be energy surplus if we are able to harness this potential of energy that we have. And its potential of energy which is available, renewable year after year, and available, so to say, free of cost.
Wow. And this is, if you at the face value, it looks like a problem. Like we have so much bio waste. We're able to tap into so like the proportion is really skewed. We're only able to do 10 million metric tons, as you mentioned. And but in the problem lies the solution. We can use this agri waste and create energy for our farmers, for our cities. You mentioned something on YouTube, sir, that was very fascinating, that India currently shifts its energy from its urban sectors to its rural sectors. And your company, PRESPL, I really like this abbreviation.
Naman, I think I have lost your link. The moment you mentioned that you mentioned something, and after that there was a pause. So
Yes,
if you
I
could repeat your question.
understood. So you were mentioning that currently India's energy moves from the urban centers to the rural centers. You want to
Yes,
reimagine that cycle.
absolutely, you're right. So if you look at the energy demand that India has, and energy demand is multifold. One of the energy demands that we actually look at is electricity. And but if you look at the entire energy basket, electricity is a small percentage in that, about 15 to 20%. 80% of the energy is for other users, transportation, cooking, industrial energy users. So it's a complete energy basket that we have. And if you look at this energy basket, the requirement, we see energy moving from the large energy manufacturing units. It could be the refineries that the oil marketing companies have. It could be the large thermal power stations that the NTPC and other private companies have. So energy moves from urban centric locations to the hinterland or the rural parts of India. Whereas what we want to achieve, or the vision that we would like to bring forward, is to have decentralized renewable energy from the agri resources we have, so that energy moves from the rural parts to the urban centers and not vice versa. and the cost of the movement of energy that we have from the ports, because we import our crude or we import coal from the large power stations. The energy transportation or the energy transition costs in terms of the losses that we have, say, on electricity, or
Hmm.
the energy that we actually spend in transporting it to reach the rural India centers,
Right.
is in itself a huge cost.
Hmm.
So if you look at the petrol, diesel, aviation fuel price at the refinery gate, and then if you look at it, what we as a consumer pay for it, it
Right.
is almost double. So we spend the similar quantum of money for that energy to reach our rural centers. So the more prudent way from a long-term perspective, you're not going to get this result as a 2-minute Maggie noodle, instant noodle recipe.
Right.
But
Right.
as a country, if we shift for this energy to be uh, generated in the rural India, and the demand also to be towards rural India, definitely there is going to be a big shift in one self-reliance, and second the cost of energy going down. And I think what we are able to demonstrate across our multiple projects in many states is exactly this same thing. So that's the vision to have from a long term perspective.
Wow. So, how has the experience been in starting these depots, talking to the local level entrepreneur, the young guys, or the older people who are in the villages and they provide you with the agricultural waste? How has been the collection process been like? Are farmers open and willing to share their waste and collect it properly and create ethanol and use it?
So you rightly said it is waste. We would not call it waste, but it's
Okay.
actually well.
Well,
But
right.
having said that, it is agricultural residue, and the farming community does not have any economical value for it. It's not a commodity,
Right.
and hence, the easiest way for the farmer to kind of dispense with it is burn it in the fields, because the farmer also requires the land to be free of this agriculture waste or agriculture residue for sowing the next crop. There is only that much of a window period to prepare his or her land and to sow the next crop. So what does the farmer do in this small window of say about 3 to 4 weeks? And that's one of the genesis of the problem, wherein the farmers burn all these agricultural residues immediately after the harvest. So year after year, we see Delhi going black. We see
Absolutely.
the we see the issues of the paddy stubble burning. Well, Delhi gets highlighted because of being the national capital
Right.
and because of having the presence of all the diplomatic presence in Delhi, the high commissions and embassies based out of Delhi. So it gets highlighted in the global community as well. But the problem is not North India or Delhi. The problem is the same pan India. The other geographies do not get the media attention, and hence I kind of get missed out. So
Wow.
farming community
That's wow.
after the harvest has been traditionally burning these residues
Mm-hmm.
and preparing the land for the next crop. And most of this has happened in the last 15 to 20 years, about 2 decades, when the farm mechanization has happened. So with the farming labor reducing, labor costs going up, and farm mechanization coming in for the harvest equipments, post that the farmers who traditionally used to use manual labor for the harvesting, once they have transitioned into the mechanized harvesting systems, find it to be a problem to clear their fields, and hence they do burn the residues. And now this residues which are available is a resource which we looked at, and that's where we have created the business model of PRESPL, and that's where we can take this agri residue to energy value. And there are multiple forms of energy which can be done. um, the mainstay here is the farmer, is rural, and the mainstay here is to recognize the problem statement and bring about a holistic solution around it. And your question is, does the farmer participate? Absolutely yes, more than willingly.
That's
Because
amazing.
if the farmer burns it there, the first you could say the target of that pollution is the
Hmm.
farmer and his or her family themselves. So
Right.
all the more necessary, if you bring a positive solution to them, they are more than willing to take it up.
That's fascinating, sir, because as you mentioned, this has been a 20-year to 30-year mechanization phenomenon that we have, where there's a lot of bio waste and nobody knows what to do with it. And I mean, how when you create those stacks of hay, you need a machine for that as well. So people are not creating those stacks, and or they don't know what to do with it in the present situation.
Yes, so what we do uniquely is we have something which we call as a village level entrepreneur model, a VLE. And this village level entrepreneur is rural youth
Hmm.
who we empower by bringing to them post harvest farming equipment. So since there is mechanization requirement, we as PRESPL invest in this post harvest equipment, and we provide it to these village level entrepreneurs free of cost. So we train them, we empower them with these equipments which we provide to them, for them to be able to work in their fields, in their villages, their neighbors' fields, in geographical areas which are within their reach of 15, 20, 25 kilometers, and bring this agricultural residue out from the fields, utilizing the equipment that we provide them, and bring it to depots or collection centers where they deliver it and we receive this, and then we start storing it as the stacks that you mentioned. So the stacks that you see are for the rice straw or the sugarcane trash or the wheat straw in North India. But if you look at other geographies, there are stacks of different types of agricultural residues. It
Mm-hmm.
could be cotton stalks, it could be corn cob, corn stover, lentil stalks, chili stalks, and so on and so forth. So, based on the type of region and agricultural residue, we create these depots or collection centers where these village level entrepreneurs, utilizing the equipment that we provide them, deliver this agri residue biomass. And once they deliver it in a transparent manner, for the quantity and quality that they deliver, we pay them through the banking channel. So a village level entrepreneur
Hmm.
works for himself or herself along with their own colleagues from their villages or the people that they have. So we are creating rural entrepreneurship,
Sir,
and these rural
normally,
entrepreneurs these rural entrepreneurs work hard for themselves, collecting this agriculture residue or waste, as commonly you would call it, and we have made it a commodity for them to get a value for it. Once we have aggregated it in our collection centers and depots, now starts the story of this commodity being available, which we can take to multiple streams of energy. And this could be in the form of electricity, this could be in the form of heating and cooling in terms of steam which we can generate, this could be densified to briquettes and pellets, hence we are able to transport it from rural parts to industrial zones. These could get converted to biofuels. So, compressed biogas, so replacement of CNG, it could get converted to replacement of LPG. It could be in cylinders or in piped city gas distribution networks. It can get converted to bioethanol, which are the second generation plants. So you have liquid fuels. It also gets converted to drop in fuel, directly petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel from biomass. And hence, if all these industries or multiple types of these forms start coming into rural India, you can produce these multiple forms of energy right there from this agriculture waste. And we as a company do multiple of these in our business verticals, and also support the industries which want to set up such projects and do it in rural India.
Wow. Wow. So you mentioned that you want to the transactions that you have with the villagers on the VLEs, the village level entrepreneurs. You want to make their waste a commodity and then provide them with equipment as well. Because have you seen a disparity in our farming sector where people don't have the machinery to work on their farms? What has your been experience? Or what has been your experience when you see the ground reality of our agricultural sector?
So all the equipments that I am mentioning is post-harvest equipment. And since this post-harvest equipment does not have a value for the commodity, hence these equipments are not invested in by the farming community and they don't have it. Now that we have shown them the way that here, if you utilize this equipment, you could find value for the agricultural residues. There are multiple instances where the farming community has also started investing in these equipment.
Hmm.
Also, there has been some government support of subsidy, more specifically in North Indian states because of Delhi going black, the problems that we have, wherein there is some subsidy support coming from government, which has also enthused these farmers to put in some money themselves and invest in these equipment as well. But the problem still remains because what if they invest and are able to aggregate this residue as well, but where is the demand? What do they do it after? What do they do with this after aggregation?
Right.
So the critical part is to also simultaneously develop the demand side. So
Hmm.
we have a resource, we know how to collect it and aggregate it, but what do you do after collecting and aggregating? Unless you have this demand of these multiple industries getting into the rural India as well. So it's important for us to have the rural demand coming up or the industrial demand in these sectors coming up as well. And that's where a lot of synergy is required between multiple government bodies and stakeholders to create this ecosystem. And I think that's where still lot of work between the central and state governments is yet to be done.
So you play a very important role in the Delhi pollution problem. Every every year from September to October, the Delhiites choke, and as you mentioned, it's Delhi that gets all the media attention because it's the central capital. However, it's a North Indian problem. It's a pan-India problem, as you mentioned, and uh, you're saying that the government intergovernment communication can be a very important aspect in trying to control this annual burning of bio waste. There's a
Yes,
big ground to
that's
cover.
right.
There's a big ground to
Yes.
cover for you, sir. As a company, I feel like there is. When you looked at the problem, were you a little surprised in the beginning, like when you got to see the stats?
So yes, so we recognized the problem statement, and I was fortunate to be in my second stint after my army career. Fortunate to get a chance to work in the biomass and bioenergy segment, and that's where the magnitude of the problem came in the forefront. And I think I realized that if we are able to look at this as a problem in terms of to be able to aggregate biomass, then the industry would kind of follow us. It's not the reverse way around.
Hmm.
So the question was, which is first, the hen or the egg, and you have to take a call. So
Right.
we kind of said that let's try and get the problem statement to the forefront, and let's try and do this. And if we are able to do this, then we can have a forward integration of business to look at utilizing this and bringing industries in rural India. The second part, as you mentioned, the 3 months that Delhi and the media, everybody gets sensitized. I think the last 5, 6 years, These 2 3 months are the time when the media starts hounding people like me to come up with some magic wand solutions, and there is no quick fix solution available. So you
Right.
would find all the media chasing us with their cameras and mics to give them bites for the solution, because that's how the media functions. But
Right.
uh,
The
but
timing couldn't be, sorry to interrupt, sir, but the timing couldn't be worse for the media houses to reach you in September when everything has
yeah,
already happened.
that's how it happens. It's all about TRPs and highlighting a statement, and that's where most of the government meetings also happen. Unfortunately, they also start taking meetings when the problem is on the head. But the balance 9 months, everything goes back and is forgotten and goes into a cold box to be again brought out in those 3 months. So again, a statement of fact. You'll start seeing it in September, October, November again, where media will pick it up and government will pick it up as well. But
Right.
that's how
Right.
it is. So
It's a
we have
trend.
to
It's
deal
almost a
with it.
trend now.
Yeah, but having said that, um,
Unfortunate
uh,
trend.
there is the the problem statement is so huge. You mentioned rightly 500 million metric tons. That the solution is not going to come in a couple of years. Even if we want a solution to be available, and that solution to show some positive effect on the ground, I think 10 15 years would be the minimum time horizon required. And if we keep delaying, I think this time span is only going to get elongated. So there has to be many more principles to do this work. There have to be many more demand side interventions to be done by both government and the private sector, and to create this ecosystem of biofuels in the country, where we will not only, as I said, have our own energy security, but we will also have the mitigation and reduction of problems of pollution, health, which our current and future generations are facing. And if you look at the study reports done by a couple of American agencies, even Government of India study reports, the health and the environment cost that India is paying is equivalent to $30 billion per annum, and that's a direct effect which we have on our GDP. And if that is the kind of effect we are having, and we are paying that cost, it's just that what we need to do is front load that cost and pay it upfront to do things, rather than paying it backloaded in terms of health and environment cost. In any which case, as a country, we are paying that cost. So why pay it later, and not bring it upfront and spend that money today, so
Right.
that we don't have that effect, that negative effect on society per se. Last week there has been a report, and which is again available in social media, where again an American report says that the life expectancy, because of the pollution problem in India, the Indian life expectancy has gone down by 5.2 years. So instead of having a positive effect on the lifespan increment because of the pollution issues, we are knocking off 5.2 years from the life expectancy of the youth in India. And if
Wow.
this is a problem which is published, and there are studies to it, what are we doing to mitigate this? And who is going to mitigate it? So I think what we are doing in PRESPL is just small baby steps, and whatever best we can do in a commercial manner, in a for-profit business, but
Right.
bringing the society involvement, bringing the involvement of rural India, bringing the involvement of entrepreneurship, keeping at the forefront the climate and health issues, keeping in the forefront the challenges that we face going into rural India, and creating businesses and energy streams around it. I think even then, a decade that we are existing, we have been fairly successful, and with all humility, we are the number one corporate entity in India in this space today,
Mm-hmm.
working across multiple states of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. Karnataka, Maharashtra, Goa, expanding to multiple more states in India, and with a due and adequate support of our financial and strategic investment investors and shareholders, I think we are on a firm footing because they have recognized the work which is being done by a PRESPL, and it should be a catalyst for many more PRESPLs to come up in India. I do hope that we are able to create the environment for many more such entrepreneurial journeys to happen in India. So for me, I think I am an entrepreneur by default. It was never entrepreneurship by design. But now that I am an entrepreneur, and now that I promote and run this company with the mandate to do what we do, I think we have put a process to the madness, and we have shown the way of how this business can be successful,
Right.
how the business of agri residue or agri waste can bring money to everybody in the value stream, and that is there for it to be seen.
I was. This is fascinating, sir, because I was just going to ask you about this. When you started off 10 years back, did you have any model to look up to? What kind of technologies were available? How did you go ahead and in creating this empire of depots that are genuinely helping this problem that we have? Uh, what was like did you were there any organizations or government agencies or any model that you looked up to when you started, or was it a sort of a blank slate and you're looking at something to create a way? And also I wanted to ask you about this bio second generation bioethanol. How new is this technology?
So I'll take your first question because when we started out with this particular enterprise, there were very good promises of the business recognition by large business houses. And PRESPL started with large business houses wanting to do this because the problem statement was there and they kind of recognized this. But refraining from taking the names of the business houses, everybody dropped it like a rotten egg, and nobody took it ahead because my understanding today is all of them thought of this to be a problem area, and all of them thought of this to be something which the money would not come back fast, but
Hmm.
it would be a long gestation, and not knowing in terms of the returns of the money, and also not being able to understand that how the working would happen in so many decentralized rural areas with who's going to kind of lead it and stuff. So all of them uniquely dropped
Haters.
this business. Yes,
They're haters,
and
so don't listen to them.
yeah,
You
and when they dropped it, it was like a baby was born, and I had this crying baby to look after, and I was left high and dry one fine day with no money in the bank, with no business, all the business houses which had promised to support it abandoning it, and I was at a cusp to say, did I make a mistake coming out of my secure army job? Did I make a mistake of listening to and hearing to these business houses that these are the promises we make? And then kind of going back to the drawing board to say, now I have nothing, so I have nothing to lose. So why not try and do this? So no support from any government agency, no support from any business house backing, no support from family and friends because nobody was coming forward with capital. But I had a good team. I had about 15, 20 people who, along with me, kind of had a vision that what we are intending to do is impactful, and we were truthful to the business, and hence we said we'll go knocking on doors, and I think we have knocked on every possible door, be it government, non-government, business houses, corporations, banks, NBFCs, and I think people know us more by the fact that we have gone and knocked on their doors rather than maybe the work we do. But having said that, and people acknowledging the way we have been at it, so it's been I think more about patience and perseverance in understanding that here is something which is very unique, is not being done by many people globally, but the future has a big demand for this. And if we are able to survive, if we are able to kind of just scrape through, not drown but keep ourselves afloat, then there is a huge scope in the near future and going ahead. And I think that's how exactly what we did. So one of my key employees 6 7 years back came to me and said, "Sir, is this the end?" And as leaders, you kind of always have to put a brave front. And I told them, don't worry, it's not the end, it's just the bend. So let's see, and let's keep doing what we're doing. And I think it has been so, it's only been a bend. So I think I've seen more bends and curves than a kind of a straight trajectory. But I do firmly believe that in the last 2 3 years we are on the highway now, and we are having virtually a flight of fantasy of business. So the business has grown in the last 2 3 years multiple fold, and the similar kind of growth we see in the next 5 to 10 years in what we are doing. So it's a positive phase of growth now. I think the trials and tribulations of any startup or any new business idea, or the questions of how, what, where will they, we have transitioned from those, and today we are in a much better footing. And I guess that's why people like you invite us for these podcasts, because we have some element of a success story to talk about. But having said that, since we started from scratch, so we have nothing to lose. And once you have nothing to lose, I think anything that you do and you find value around it, it's always going to be a positive. So we are positive guys. We are a bunch of ex-Faujis who work together. Most of our
So that's
employees
all
and
you need, a
management.
bunch of 4Gs to do
Yeah,
something.
so we are, so fortunately, the story that I'm telling you, last 2 3 years, colleagues of mine from the National Defense Academy, my batchmates and course-mates, three of them joined this business of PRESPL, and we are four of us together. We met each other first time in the National Defense Academy in December of '91. So we are from the Juliet Squadron 87th course, and I think no bond, no camaraderie better than course mates. So it's been 28, 29 years that we know each other. We started together in shorts, and I think we are still there. So we work together. We have a common goal that we have now. We see this vision together, and work is fun. We work hard and we party harder, and I think that's the motto that we work with. And I don't see any reason why, if you are able to put hard work, you're able to put processes, make SOPs every day, endeavor to better what you have done yesterday, that you would not grow in a business. It's not that you're not going to fail. So every business, everything that you attempt, you are going to fail, and we have failed. We still fail on a daily basis, but we come back stronger. We do not drop it, and every failure, I think, teaches us that we need to do this in a different way, and there's always a better way to do it. So if we are able to bring that better way the next day and again attempt it, uh, I think that's how we survive and we continue to grow in the business of what we do.
So this attitude that you have, this positive, energetic, I feel so much, like so much optimism and a mix of. Uh, but I mean, I'm even scrambling my words right now because when I think of an individual who has been in the Indian Army, And there's that separation between individuals in that case, because the kind of discipline that an individual is imbibed with in the armed forces, I think it's unparalleled to anything. And you've had your share of setbacks, you've had your share of isolation. But sir, what do you think is the differentiator between civilians and ex-army officers? Do you think there is an added advantage that you have in terms of your mentality to just take this massive, humongous problem on and just still seem strong and willing to talk to authorities and not being a rebel when not wanted? That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from you, sir. Strength vibe, right? What are your thoughts on that?
So, Naman, I'm a second generation army officer, and it's not only about officers. It's about the junior commissioned officers. It's about the PBORs, the personal below officer rank. We don't have only officers in the team of PRESPL, but we have people across the hierarchy of army who we are able to imbibe. And it's not so that that a person who was not an officer in the army
Absolutely.
in PRESPL is not an officer. It's not the case. I will not take names, but people who were NCOs in the army are very senior appointed officers in PRESPL hierarchy. So, so it's not about your past.
Right.
It's about how you are able to perform in the present and your outlook for the future. It's not about wearing a suit and going into a business meeting. We are not B school graduates. It's about, along with your men, how do you perform on the ground? So typically, when we look at hiring in PRESPL, we don't want B school tuxedo guys to talk English to us, but we want local language speaking people who actually want to work on the ground. And
Right.
I think that's what we look for. And irrespective of male, female, is irrespective of caste, creed. It's only about willingness to work and perform. That's one. Second thing is, I think what the army taught us, and me and many more, is about being able to do things in adversity. You are not going to get everything on a platter. You are not going to get everything set and then start coming to do things, because then what do you need to do if everything is set? So basically, you are going to get things which are half cooked or uncooked. You are going to get goals and targets which are difficult, and you will need to work to achieve them, right? And more often than not, when you are going to be working to achieve them, you are going to face only tough times. You are going to face challenges, and it's all about how do you bring solutions for these challenges. So if the solutions were available, then those challenges would not come to you. So I think that's something which we holistically recognize. And uh, and the other good part is, once we recognize this, in the comparative vis-a-vis the army life and civilian life, as you said, the civilian life is all about money, and the civilian life is all about, if you're going to do something and you're going to lose money, you're not going to be in business. So at the end of the day, your P&L has to be positive. At the end of the day, you are going to be liked by your shareholders, by your investors, by your teammates, by your bosses, only if you're going to make money. So that's the bottom line of a civilian life, right? Vis-a-vis, the army life is not about making money. The army life is about certain goals to achieve. So if that's something which we kind of do in transition, we set goals and we achieve those. In doing that, um, because I think we have learned the hard way, we have become conscious also not to lose money. I think till very recently we only lost money, but our investors and shareholders, I think they understand business much better than people like me, still continued to support us, because they found the business value for the next 10, 15, 20 years around what we do, which they understood better than people like me. Because as I said, I've not studied business. I don't come from a B school background. I didn't understand finance. I do now because I run this company and multiple more companies. But They are the people who kind of had more faith in people like me to drive what we were doing, and we had a conscious feeling towards not not wanting to burn their capital, and to be at the end of the day, ensure that the capital that they are riding on us and investing on us to do something gets a return. And I think that's where we are today, where we are able to bring value to that capital and bring financial returns, but still doing what we have set out to do. And that's, I think, the USP of how we have been able to survive in this business. And there are the world is not about Fauji and non-Fauji, but the world is about good people. and
Absolutely.
and I've had the two great mentors in my life on the business side. One is my late uncle, Mr. Vinny Ahuja, who got me into this business, and the second is his friend, late Mr. P. N. Devarajan, one of the doyens of Indian industry, ex Group President Reliance, ex Group President SR, and so on and so forth, a board member of Reserve Bank of India for 10 years. And in my initial years, the first 3 4 years that I was in the CV Street, they spoke a lot to me, and I consciously kind of heard what they would guide me. And uh, and Mr. Devarajan told me, never run after money. He said, if you are able to do things the right way, money will run after you. And the second thing, I think, which I learned from him was there is no way that you're going to get success, and it's only going to move away from you. It's only about a process. So keep doing the process and keep looking at it differently each day. And if you are able to keep adapting to the newer demands of the problems, I think you will have a good story to go about. And the third thing was, in couple of conversations when I used to speak to him, I used to say, "Sir, how do I do business? I don't have money." So he said, and he was very candid in saying, "Do you think the large business houses and these promoters have money? They don't have money. They have a bigger problem than you have. Your problem of finding money is couple of lakhs. Their problem of finding money is thousands of crores. So at any step of business that you transition, the problem will remain the same of where to get money for the next round of growth. So that problem now you have for your life. That's not going to go away. So if that is going to be a problem, why are you worrying about it? So even 5 years down the line, you will still have the same question: where do I get money for this phase of the growth? So he
Right.
said that is something you will have to find. So and one day he told me, don't sit in the office, go out, take your car, go out, go and meet bankers, go and meet people, and just keep meeting people. And he said, beg, borrow, don't steal, and go and find money. And he said, some person somewhere will like your story, will like you, and will give you money. And if that happens, that's how the businesses happen. And I think that's what actually happened. So I only meet people, and people who like what we do come forward with supporting us with capital. And I think that's seen as in the growth phase we have. So, having said that, it's not that people just cut a check and give you money. They have demands, expectations, and processes. So, we are invested in by financial and strategic investment firms. 2013 was the first time that I was able to raise capital, and this was from a global impact private equity fund called as Responsibility. Responsibility is headquartered out of Zurich, and they invest in businesses which have impact for the society at large, and they are an impact private equity fund. And they were the first investment. In fact, PRESPL was one of the first investments that they did in India in 2013. They continue to be remain invested in PRESPL. So that's the first time that we found formal capital. And last year we got invested by NE Fund. NE Fund is a government to government G2G fund, where the money is from Government of India through State Bank of India, and government of UK through DFID UK. So it's both ways. It is development financial capital, and NEEF fund invested again as a financial investor, but again they invest in impact space where the business of PRESPL does bring that impact to society at large by what we do. And last year in August, exactly a year ago, we got invested by the global oil and major giant Shell, and Shell invested as a strategic investor in PRESPL, with again recognizing what we do in terms of the energy space. And I think the global mandate that Shell has set upon themselves to do energy from renewable and alternate sources and move away from fossil fuels is what the business of Prespel is in line with their mandates. But I think we value each of our shareholders and investors because they have brought the capital for the growth of Prespel. But having said that, uh, being a Fauji, being Indian at heart and stuff, uh, most of this capital, and I think that that's something which kind of saddens me at some points of time, is foreign capital, is not Indian capital. The money from responsibility is foreign capital. Bulk of the money from NEEV is foreign capital. The money from Shell is foreign capital. So there are these large financial institutions and global majors where the foreign capital is coming into India for business of India, in India, make in India. However, the formal Indian capital is not coming for it. The problem is in India. We are bringing the solution in India, but the capital is foreign. So it's a question at large. What is the Indian capital doing? What is the capital from the government agencies doing? What is the capital from the banks and Indian financial institutions doing? So my view is that the Indian capital is not getting utilized for problem statements within India, but here is foreign capital which is recognizing the problem and is coming to India and investing. And at some point of time, the business of Prespel even today is giving value. So who's taking the value? The value is being taken by foreign capital. So it's a question, a larger question which we as Indians should be able to answer and should be able to look at.
Right.
Having said that, I think we are very fortunate that these large financial institutions have looked at the business of Prespel and continue to support us. And we as a corporate entity are working to realize our common goals and our dreams, and that's where we are moving towards.
Amazing, sir. The fascinating part is that it's these foreign funds that focused on social impact. Social impact is what got you the finance. It's what got the farmers more income for their bio waste. And as you mentioned, like, where is the Indian capital? Do you think there's a high potential of Indian capital to be invested in social impact companies? There should be.
Yes, so Naman, see, what we have been able to do is show across different geographies a business model which creates value and which brings this social impact and brings return on capital, and is
Right.
also creating that positive impact of everything that our honorable Prime Minister talks about. I'll give you a couple of examples, and you should take note of this. Rural entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
waste to energy, waste to wealth, mitigating open field burning of agricultural residues,
Right. These are the key
increasing
points.
increasing farmer income towards doubling of farmer income, bringing back carbon to the soil, bringing energy in making India Atmanirbhar, rural energy, decentralized energy, renewable energy, creating jobs, in rural India, financial inclusion. We have opened Jan Dhan accounts with not putting money in them, but here as PRESPL we pay 100% money through the banking system. So we are bringing rural banking and financial inclusion.
I
We are creating or we are creating jobs for the reverse migration that we have seen through this global pandemic times. We are creating replacement of fossil fuel. So we are aligned with the sustainable development goals to which India has signed and committed. So the SDGs are being met. We are creating women jobs. So all of this is being done without a single rupee of government support. And here we have all governments talking about doing all of this and, so to say, supporting capital. But where is the capital going? I have not seen the capital in the business of PRESPL or or the likes of business of PRESPL. So I think uh, we continue to do what we do, and we continue to echo that there should not be any subsidy, there should not be any financial support, but what we only seek is policy support. Make the policies to be enablers. Don't become an impediment in somebody who's doing something to come and become thanedars over there.
Hmm.
So what does a government or a government person need to become a thanedar in all the positive impacts that we do? Why do I need to go to a government agency to start seeking multiple clearances to do good work that I'm doing? So the kind of thing which our Prime Minister echoes in last 15th of August from the Red Fort, he said, "Annadata se urja data," which means that the farmer who is the grower should become the energy giver. And I think that's exactly what we are doing.
That's it. That's what it is.
That's it. And he said,
Wow.
he said, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan. So we are a bunch of ex-Faujis and Jawans. The Kisan is giving us the agriculture residue, and the Vigyan, the science, is giving us various methodologies of converting it to form of energy. So what more do we need?
So have you spoken to him? Have you met Mr. Narendra Modi ever? Or has there ever been
So,
a
I had a chance of a close quarter interaction, not with him directly. I was the first chairman FICCI Bioenergy in the year 2018, and surprisingly, I got an invite from his office for a lunch meeting which was hosted for diplomats and country heads from 80 countries. This was co-terminus with the launch of the International Solar Alliance. So I did get an invite for that particular lunch meeting in Rashtrapati Bhavan, and on a Sunday I did take a flight and I went and attended that. So the only closest I could go was to seeing him, but other than that, I don't think I've been fortunate to get an audience with him or any of his team members as yet. And Naman, I had the opportunity of interaction with the Honorable High Commissioner of UK to India. This was 2 weeks back with Sir Philip Barton. And when I narrated all of this, because as I said, there is development financial capital from UK government, which is invested through NEEP fund. So as one of the investee companies in an interaction, we were chosen to present to him the work we do. And he made a statement to say, "Why is your government not chasing you?" And
right?
and
That's what I was
yeah,
thinking. Damn,
and
because
he mentioned this, and I said, "Sir, it's something which I have knocked on all the doors, so I've stopped doing that." But my sense is sooner than later, I think they will realize that this is the way to go, and it's not about chasing, but it's about realizing that this should happen. And if we get a chance for those conversations, definitely we will do that.
awesome. So what do you think is the scope in terms of when do you see India becoming an exporter of second generation bioethanol? When do you see
Yeah.
us becoming reliant on our own fuel? Is there a timeline in your head? What are your thoughts on that?
So, Naman, my initial view on that is we should have become a global market leader already by now, because government did announce these schemes. Government mandated a couple of their public sector units, the PSUs, to lead it, which is the oil marketing companies: Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, Mangalore Refinery, ONGC, Numaligarh Refinery, and also in the power sector, the NTPCs of the world. And these are giants of the Indian industry, government PSUs, with very clear cut mandates as well. But personally, this is my view. We make excellent policies, but we are one of the worst in implementation on the ground. And we have made all these good policies, but the implementation is where we have failed again, miserably failed. Because if something is to be done in 2 to 3 years time, and the honorable ministers, the prime minister's office, the state ministers, the politicians, the bureaucrats come out and lay foundation stones, and come out and make these public announcement and newspaper articles, but we as citizens of this country fail to ask them what happened, because 6 years have happened. Where are these projects? And my personal view is, and because I come from the mindset of being a Fauji, there is no forgiveness for non-performance. There is forgiveness for mistake,
Hmm.
but there is no forgiveness for non-performance. So if I was in place of honorable prime minister, the first thing I would do is sack all of them, and I make no bones about saying that. Sack all of them, right from the minister to the bureaucrats, and get new set of people with a timeline for performance. I think that's a paradigm shift we need in our Indian mindset.
Right.
We have become so used to acceptance of non-performance, so used to acceptance of non-implementation on the ground, and we only announce policies from all high pedestals with absolutely no on-ground implementation being done. And I think the Prime Minister has been very vocal to say that he has been let down by the bureaucrats, and so on and so forth. And I think he's a very well meaning person for India and the Indian economy, and the business in India and the growth of India. So he needs couple of very
Doers, like
hard
40
hitting.
doers, just go out there and do it. Like, because
I wouldn't say ex Fauji's, because people will start coming after me, but he needs people who would be able to implement his vision on the ground, which I still find to be a big gap and missing. Having said that, it does not mean that he has to do everything. We all
right,
have to do,
absolutely,
because,
yes.
we are all Indians and it is our country,
I'll
and we
make a
all need
comment.
to do
Sorry to
we all
interrupt.
need
I'll
to
make a
do what
comment
we are
on
doing.
that. So the thing is that a lot of young people, especially I've seen this, they think that the prime minister will do everything. Like if he has come, everything's going to change, or everything is going to go down the drain because of one person. A country is much bigger than one person. It's he can have the vision, but we need people who can get things done on the ground. And thinking of the government as one person is missing the point.
Absolutely right, Naman, and I think I echo that. So that's why I said the Prime Minister from Red Fort gave us the direction of Andata se Urja Data. He has enlightened people like me and us. What we are doing is implementing that vision. If I'm implementing it and making money out of it, and 300 employees of PRESPL and another 5,000 to 7,000 villagers and farmers are making money out of it, credit to his vision. But he's not asking me to give that money to him. I'm making money, I'm paying taxes. He's utilizing the money in taxes for the betterment of the society, and vision of his government. But since there is a vision which is available, we have embarked on that. We take pride in saying that we are able to do something which is the vision statement of the Prime Minister.
Absolutely.
and we are implementing it. He's not expecting anything in return from us, and vice versa. We are not expecting anything from him. He's doing his work, and we are doing our work. We are coexisting. The only thing which maybe we have asked from is, if somebody troubles us, you are the head of the Indian family. Allow us to have an audience to come in and cry on your shoulders to say support us with this. That's about all. And when I say him, we don't need to go to him, but his team which is there.
Hmm.
The second part is he has shown the way. He has shown the way for a Atmanirbhar Bharat. He has shown the way for a rural economy. He has shown the way that there are businesses which you can do, and there is no. I think there is no substitute to hard work. So what we do is a combination of all of this, and I think that's about it. We do our work. We work with large corporates. We work with large financial institutions today. We work with global development financial institutions. But the mainstay of our business is the rural youth and rural farmers. If the farmers are not there, we are not in business.
Right.
So while all the others are joining this bandwagon of supporting a PRESPL in what we do, but the beneficiary is the rural youth, the rural farmer, and that's what we are managing and synergizing only. That's what we're doing. So yes, we do have good interactions now with government, with various ministries, but these interactions are both ways. They also learn from what we do, and vice versa. We learn with the government ways of functioning, and that's what we want to take ahead. So I think their doors are open, and that's what is a message I would give to multiple entrepreneurs, that have the patience and perseverance. If you are doing good work, the podcast would come to you to want to hear what you do, and you continue to do your work. But the promulgation or the propagation of what we are doing today, or multiple such interactions that we have, is not to highlight the business of PRESPL, but is to highlight processes which can be done, so that many more entrepreneurs come up and do what we are doing. Because the problem statement is 500 million metric tons,
Absolutely. Yes.
and as PRESPL,
That's
we are
the
not
gap that
even
needs to be
doing,
filled. You
yeah,
can't do
we are
that
not
alone,
even
right?
doing 0.001% of it. So where is the problem? There can be
Sir,
thousands of
like
Colonel Ahuja to do what we are doing.
you have such a unique business model where you actually want competitors to be there. You don't want people to not enter your industry. You want them to come, create more knowledge, do fill in the gap of this 500 million metric tons of waste that we have, and help each other. Like it could be a symbiotic industry in the future.
Well, Naman, competition is always good, because it kind of helps us to learn newer ways. Because when you look at competition coming in, they would come maybe with better ideas than what we do. So it will give us a chance to learn. It also supports and allows us to be kind of not complacent in our day to day working. The third thing is, whatever is the best for the industry or for a process will survive. That's how the universe is built. The toughest or the toughest of the processes, or the hardest of the ways, kind of survive. The easier ones fall out going ahead. So as a company, we want to be resilient so that we can survive. The COVID-19 pandemic, for us, has been an opportunity rather than a problem. All through these 4 months of the lockdown, we have been surviving, and we have been working to 100% of our capacity,
Wow.
despite my office in Bombay and Delhi being shut. So my urban offices are closed, but each of my rural site continues to work. And it's a irony. The month of June and July has been the highest revenue in the last 10 years of history of PRESPL. And all my revenue is coming from the rural part.
Damn.
So where is the problem? So when we are saying go rural, when we are saying businesses have to go that side, is where you are going to get the value from. And as I said, we are going to be symbiotic. So in Prespel, we are supporting village level entrepreneurs. We are also supporting uniquely what we call as channel partners. So these channel partners are the ones we support with setting up of small scale, micro and small scale rural industries. And these are briquetting and pelleting plants. So basically, densification of this biomass. So we support these channel partners with establishment of these rural plants.
Hmm.
We support them with finance for agricultural residue because you have to aggregate it in a small period of 2-3 months time. We support them with 100% offtake of the produce market so that they do not have to go from door to door, industry to industry to try to sell. The problems which we faced when we started off, where I had to, with a few people, go from industry to industry to try and sell to them, and it's taken us 10 years to be where we are. What we are supporting our channel partners is we give you the entire market, so you don't have to go to sell. I take all your produce or the output of this briquette and pellet, and since we have already built this marketing network, business development network, client base, we take your product and we sell it for you. And we both partner and share the delta in a transparent manner. So we also support multiple of these channel partners. And so we have transitioned. So when we have transitioned into the forward integration of the business, we are also creating these village level entrepreneurs and channel partners who we are supporting to work for themselves. They are not PRESPL employees, but they are small scale, micro, or small scale industries who are working for themselves. And the more they work, more they earn. So Prespel is becoming a partner to them, a
Hmm.
big daddy partner to them in supporting the produce, and the produce is from the farm agriculture waste to reach to large industries and markets. It's very difficult for a large industry to deal with tens and hundreds of farmers. They don't have the bandwidth. But for them, it is very easy to deal with one corporate entity of a Prespel. And since Prespel is based on a model of dealing with VLEs and channel partners, we are symbiotic and we do that.
Hmm.
So that's the model. So, like you said, you want competition to come in. We also want competition to come in with in house growth of competition.
Right. And
We are very good.
this is where the decentralized word comes in, right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Awesome. Awesome. So, uh, I have one question regarding work. The company, the scope of your company's work. What do you think about urban bio waste? Do you think there's potential for second generation ethanol being developed from urban bio waste?
Yes, yes. So, municipal solid waste that you have as a component of biodegradable waste, which can be utilized for multiple biofuels. It can be utilized for compressed biogas and for second generation ethanol, and also for drop in fuel. This problem is more dealt with the Ministry of Urban Development, because the biodegradables or the urban municipal solid waste comes from the urban municipalities,
Right.
and this is also something which I believe that the government is sensitized towards and they are working towards it. uh, Unfortunately, as a business of Prespel, we are currently not working in this space, though we are evaluating it. We have looked at multiple models, but the understanding of municipalities, and as I said, in the business of Prespel, it is much easier to work with the hundreds and thousands of farmers than to work with 4 or 5 corporators in municipalities. So we find it much easier to work with people. The people to people connect is so
Right.
much more easier because we are transparent and we are human, rather than the business entity connect with a corporation house, where they start looking at you from being a business company, and the first thought they have is, here is a business house who's coming to make money, so let us see how we can kind of stall it or make money out of them. And I think that's something which for Fauji's like us,
It's sad.
um,
It is so
it's
sad, sir,
sad.
because they
Yeah,
don't.
so we don't kind of even look to venture in that,
Right.
and we drop it from our business list. But having said that, your question is very pertinent, and there is huge scope over there, and at some point of time, given a good opportunity, we will take it up.
Awesome. So actually, the one of the most powerful things you mentioned in the podcast was about you would sack all those ministers and get people who can get stuff done and not be impediments to good work. And also, so I was while talking to you, I also realized that you could have been an NGO, like a company that does not make money, but you chose the option of being a successful company that makes money from waste. And
Yes.
that I think there is no moral ground in this, but it's great that you took that route, sir, and created a supply chain where there's precedent.
Yeah, so Naman, not to be caustic in my comment for NGOs or the work that NGOs do, and and you have seen in the last 3-4 years, hundreds and thousands of NGOs which this government has closed down
Right.
because of. So again, NGO, for the lack of word, I'm using charity. NGOs thrive on charity,
Mm.
and you can never thrive to grow activities on charity. So uh, so it, it's about creating value for the entire stream. The farmer or the VLE must make money, because if they don't make money at the end of the day, why do they need to do this? Our channel partners must make money, and PRESPL, its investors, shareholders, banking partners must all make money. The part here is, don't be greedy in making that money. Make the commensurate money that decently a business should allow you to make. Make money in the entire value chain that each of you, like partners, should make. And in the entire value chain, Prespel makes the least money. All our partners, our village level entrepreneur, channel partner, our banking partners, our shareholders, all make a larger pie of the money than what I, as the promoter of the company, make. So it's not about making money on an individual basis. It's about creating an ecosystem that the entire ecosystem makes money as a bhagidari model, as a shareholder model. And if we are able to give value to each of the stakeholder to their rightfully just, that they should make money in a transparent manner, I think it's a well-oiled machinery which works. We are showcasing it. And it's not that we are doing it in one location, we are doing it in dozens of locations, and every location it is working. Because we transparently tell a farmer that you are going to make X amount per metric ton. This is
I,
legitimately what you are going to make.
you're
And
not
in
going
that,
in. You're not going into the farmer and telling him, "Hey, you need to not burn your crop because it's polluting my city." That's not what you're
no,
saying. You're saying,
no,
"Give your waste to us, and we'll make energy out of it, and we'll pay you for it."
yeah, and we pay them upfront. And when they become my partners, and when they realize that we are transparent with them, we are partners, we support them, we are supporting them with equipment, with training, with jobs, with money around the waste, we are bringing a solution to them. Why would a farmer or any individual, why will they not partner with me? I'm not cheating them. I'm bringing them work. I'm paying them for it. I'm paying the same to everybody, without any favor or without any partisan view about caste, color, creed, sex. I'm paying them for the work they do, be it a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a XYZ. It doesn't matter. They do work and we pay them. We do work and our clients pay us. The only part is, and the sad part is, if in this entire wheel you start getting politicians in between, they are the ones who spoil the wheel. And I've had instances of politicians who still owe money to my company because they did come into the wheel, and it's been 4, 5, 6 years. We are still litigating with them and they have not paid us. Whereas, even
Scums.
in those instances, to every farmer, we have paid money. So I think we come from a position of strength today, with the position of strength to say no for political intervention, with the strength to say no for bureaucratic intervention. And we work with people, and it's a people to people connect and a people to business house connect, and all of us do our work, and it's fairly successful. So wherever we see any intervention or any stakeholder play coming in from a politician or from a local or from a bureaucrat, I think we just back off, and that works. There's no problem.
So I have one last question from you, and this would be a little something that you would probably know much about. And you've already mentioned that you do not discriminate between religions, caste, creed. It doesn't matter whether village level entrepreneur or anybody you're associated, your company is associated with anybody. It doesn't matter. There's a concept called Sarva Dharam in army, the Indian army and or the Indian military, and so that's inclusivity of all religions. It doesn't matter who what it is. What is
You you're absolutely right with that, Naman.
we need
Uh,
more of that.
yes, so I don't think we are a nation which is divided on religion. Army is an institution where you see of Sarv Dharm, like you said. Uh, we have all our religious institutions co-located,
Hmm.
and, and battalions or regiments or units uh, all practice all religious faiths because it's an individual's faith. Having said that, we all in our workspace work for a common goal, and the common goal in when we work in the defense forces is about nation. The common goal when we work in a PRESPL is about the business of PRESPL, to grow the business of PRESPL in each of our jobs that we have, and that's it. I think there's nothing more to it or nothing less to it. And if we do not find any individual, he or she, in this space to be working, then there is a hierarchy to correct it, and we take steps to correct it. And if we are not able to correct it, and if we find that in the entire system uh, there is uh, there is somebody who needs to be removed because of his or her way of working, or not being able to work even after the corrective spaces, as a process we give them a 3 month notice and move them out of the company. So we do not carry baggage,
Hmm.
but we ensure that we train people. The business of PRESPL, you are not going to get a skill set out of a B school or a skill set out of a college or an institute. It is skill set which we inculcate, train them, and imbibe in them. And hence, I think with again humility and pride, I can say that 99% of PRESPL employees who have joined PRESPL right from the day of incorporation continue to remain with PRESPL. The 1% of the rotten eggs, for whatever reasons, and we are all humans, everybody, we have all kinds of people, are the ones who we have had to weed out. And I think that's an ongoing process. So it's absolutely natural. Um, and that's how organizations grow and flourish.
Is it fair to say that PRESPL is this really alpha company which has some really cool people working for it, and you're very active about weeding out the weak, as you call the rotten eggs?
So
PRESPL
it's
is
so
wrong, right?
Naman, it's not about weeding out the weak. We don't weed out the weak.
Okay,
We get the
I
weak.
misconstrued probably.
Yeah, we get the weak to improve and improve and improve. We are hard taskmasters. We don't. If we select somebody and we get somebody to join PRESPL, we ensure that he or she learns on the job and becomes a part and becomes strong. Does not remain weak. Who we weed out are the ones who do certain activities which are not deemed to be appropriate. For example, making some money which is on the sides which are not appropriate activities, uh, cheating which is not appropriate, doing something which is away from the business ethics. So these are and as I said, there are all kinds of people. So it's not about taking names. But
Right.
when such kind of activities do not support the cause, then at some point of time you have to weed them out and remove them. It's not that these are instantaneous decisions. We allow time for improvement. As I said, a mistake is pardonable and a mistake is acceptable. But if you continue making those mistakes after the period of time, then it's not a mistake, but it's something which is done out of habit or intention. And those are the persons necessarily the organization need to weed out. Similar things in the army as well. Um, there are odd cases you find of say XYZ having done something cheating or something. So the organization weeds them out. There is a process. It does not mean that the organization per se has gone corrupt. No,
Right.
but it's an individual. We are a society of individuals, and we keep correcting. So that's what we imbibe. That there is a process of betterment. There is a process of refinement. But despite those, if there is a process of punishment, but despite those, if people do not fall in line, then they have to leave the organization. That's how it is.
So, your company, PRESPL, I'm so glad it's there, and thank you for all the work that you do. And really hope people, if they hear this, whoever's listening to this, it's just get inspired by you. I'm sure you had so many gems to give us, sir, and thank you so much for PRESPL, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Naman. Thanks for inviting me for this podcast. What I would leave is kindly go to our company website. It's www.prespl.com. So
Right.
www.prespl.com. Go to our website. It has all our social media contacts as well. It has multiple links for employees and people to reach out to us. Um, do reach out to us. We'd be happy to have people join our journey. The more, the merrier. We would be happy to make people join this movement pan India, and if we can find synergies of working together, that will be our intent and endeavor towards it. And good wishes to everybody. We still continue to be in the pandemic times, so be safe, follow the guidelines being given by government, be safe for yourself, your family and friends, and we wish each one of you well through this podcast. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Naman. Thanks for
Absolutely.
inviting me and having me over.
Lieutenant Colonel Monish Ahuja, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jai Hind. Thanks
Jai
so
Hind.
much.
Jai Hind. Thank you, sir. All right.